Hello and welcome to this edition of Minstrels on the Block, where we bring you the finest singer-songwriters in the Valley area. This week's special guest is Mr. Wally Montgomery.
How's it going? It's good to have you.
Great to have you on the show, man.
Good to be here, Brian.
So tell me about yourself. Where were you born?
I'm a local guy, man. Born and raised here. Waverly Hall, a little town just outside of Columbus. My family has pretty deep roots here, going back quite a few generations. In fact, you and I share common roots of growing up on the same street in Waverly Hall.
That is correct.
Though we hadn't seen each other in 25 years. We kind of have the same roots. But yeah, I just grew up in Waverly Hall, which is a small town. Typical, I guess, small town country type life. Riding my bike all over town, playing out in the yard, playing in the woods. Back then, you didn't have to worry about people kidnapping you and running off with you. So we had a lot more freedom to just disappear after school and not come back till the sun came down. But that's kind of how I grew up, just kind of running around Waverly Hall on my bicycle.
Now, tell me about your parents. What did they do?
Well, my parents, as far as a music background go, my mom's a music major, and my dad also plays guitar. My mom plays piano. And coincidentally, they met in a band. My mom played keyboards, my dad played guitar. Out of high school and into college, though they didn't pursue that as a career. My mom was a music teacher here in Columbus before my sister was born. Then after that, she was a stay-at-home mom with us. And my dad is pretty much you just say an entrepreneur. He's always doing something, starting a business. He's had various businesses over the years. And that kind of mentality rubbed off on me. I kind of do the same, always have my own businesses and always work for myself pretty much. And music has always been what I wanted to do the most, but as you know, it's kind of difficult to get in and get to making any kind of real money in it. So
that's true.
It's something I'm still trying at, and made pretty good headway this past year, but you know, got to still find other ways to pay the bills. So.
Got to, yeah. Unfortunately.
So,
now, now you said music is something you've always wanted to do. Do you remember a time when that started?
Yeah, I do. Well, being that we come from a musical family, my grandmother on my dad's side, she was also a music major. And so at 5 years old, all the grandkids, it was a prerequisite that we take piano lessons. She's a piano teacher, so whether we wanted to or not, we had to take piano lessons. So.
Sucked back in the day, but it was good later on.
Yeah, because as a little 5-year-old kid, I wanted to be out in the woods riding my bike. I didn't want to be doing piano, but I took for about 3 years. My parents let me quit when I was 8. Started playing guitar when I was 10, and of course picked up the guitar and picked up the piano again as well. Though I'm not near as proficient on piano as I am on guitar, I still can play a couple of tunes and get through a recording with one. But I would say the spark to really want to do it, I guess as a career, kind of hit me around the 12, 13 range. When you start really getting into some of the more of the rock and roll stuff, of course, and start learning the different, your guitar heroes, like Van Halen's my guitar hero, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, those guys. So you start seeing them and seeing the posters of them in magazines, you start wanting to, I want to do that.
Yeah, I want that to be me.
Yeah. It started pretty young. But I guess too, being that, kind of have a business side too, I started my own business when I was 16. So it's kind of always been a push-pull with the music. I want to do the business as well, but then I also wanted to do music. But as I said a few minutes ago, that it's harder to get the money flowing through music. Yeah. So it was always, I'd give music a good push for a little while, and if nothing happened, well, I'd have to go back and kind of be responsible again.
Yeah.
And back, that back and forth kind of thing. So it started pretty young, but it's been kind of a long road. I think that tends to be the case with a lot of us. It's kind of a learning curve to music, and it's not easy to get noticed and not easy to make it. So we keep plugging away at it before we get too far over the hill.
Yeah. I see that hill getting closer and closer. Now, a couple of questions. Going back a little bit, well, first of all, what sorts of businesses are you into? What are your interests?
My main business for a lot of years was a franchise of a company that does paintless dent repair on cars. My business entailed going to car dealerships and calling on body shops and individuals and doing small repairs. Not repainting stuff, but just getting the little dents out and stuff like that. I've been in real estate. I've owned rental properties and did that here in town, which I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. That was a headache and a half. I'm glad to be out of that. Went through college, went to Columbus State for a couple of years, got my degree in marketing and business there. Just various little things here and there. The little ones didn't work out, but the dent repair business has always been one that's been kind of constant, and that's been the main one. My wife She's a personal trainer. We have a training studio in Columbus that she runs with another business partner. So
very cool.
Got a few things going on. Always busy, always something to do. And then the past few years, I've been helping my dad a lot with his business. He's got a security gate company that I help him with, as well as he owns a cemetery out there. So
oh, cool.
Kind of got a lot of very different little things that I do.
With all the sticks in the fire, one of them's going to flame up into a moneymaker.
I'm hoping it's the music.
Yeah, hoping it's the music.
The fun one.
Now, going back to the music and going back a little bit, now you mentioned a couple of names, but what are some of your early influences that really set you on fire for music?
The earliest influences for me, as far as guitar went, of course, being 10 years old when I started in the 80s, was the big 80s hair band stuff. So, I mean, you got the Motley Crue, the Poison, and all that stuff. And it really wasn't until about 2 years into playing guitar that I found Van Halen. I don't know why it took me that long. But once I heard, Eruption, which most musicians know Eruption, that, minute and a half solo that Eddie did, when I heard that, I was like, I want to learn how to do that, and that's all I want to do. So from the point of hearing that solo, I fully delved into not just wanting to be strumming guitar or singing kind of guy. I wanted to be the shredder type mentality of a guitar player. And so that's really what I did, man. I practiced 7-8 hours a day, just about every day for my whole teenage years. I mean, just almost fanatical about it. But I guess it paid off a little bit. I know my way up and down a guitar neck.
That's cool.
But that was kind of my main thing. I didn't get into sports growing up because all I wanted to do was play guitar. Mm-hmm. I was kind of a nerd in that sense. I would rather be up in my room jamming along to some CDs than I would be. My days of riding the bike outside were over as soon as I found guitar.
I never felt the desire till music set me on fire, then I was saved.
Exactly.
Now, before we go to one of your songs, let's go into your writing.
Writing has been something I've always done. From the time I was 13 or 14, I got a little Fostex multi-track. Back then it was just little cassette tapes, nothing fancy, nothing good sound quality at all. And of course, I didn't really know how to use it then either. Yeah. But I started, multi-tracking guitar layers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And at first, it was just instrumental guitar stuff because, one of my main influences was Joe Satriani, Eric Johnson, and Steve Vai, who was instrumental guitar music. And so that's kind of what I tried to emulate through my early teenage years. So I have a ton of old tapes of that kind of stuff. Right. The lyric writing and all that came in maybe 16, 17, that age. And as you guys probably know too, songwriting lyrically takes a lot more maturity and a lot more thought than it does instrumental. At least for me, it does. Mm-hmm. And so stuff I look back when I was 16 and 17 was very superficial, surface type writing, And then of course, the older you get and the more experience you have in life, I feel that the better it is just naturally without having to try because you've lived a lot more. You got a little more to say and you got a little hopefully better perspective on things. But songwriting has been something I've always loved. Even when I wasn't fully doing music, I was always, with the acoustic guitar writing songs. Mm-hmm. And I would say too, probably back in 06, 07, I'd kind of had resigned to the fact that I wasn't even going to try to have a career in music anymore. I was just going to focus on business and let it go. But I had a pretty good batch of songs that I had written over the previous years. And just so happened I got with a couple of guys and we recorded some stuff, and that kind of sparked it back to where I am now to get back into writing and start putting it out there instead of just playing it in my office at home, So here I am today. I got a whole bunch of songs I've written and recorded in the past year, and thankful you guys are having me on here to let me play a few of them for you.
Oh man, we're so happy to have you. And we're going to close this section with the most important question of the show. And if you've seen any episodes, you probably know what it is. Elvis or the Beatles?
Got to be the Beatles.
Got to be the Beatles.
Big Beatles fan.
There's a theme here. Let's check out one of Wally's songs, and we'll be right back after this.
Here's my song, Cow Tippin'. Go check it out on Reverb Nation. Come on, girl, it's Friday night. Buckle on up, it's time to ride. Where we're gonna go, we don't need roads. I got a spot picked out, we can lay it down. So come on, girl, let's leave right now. We'll get there fast and take it slow. Yeah, so climb up in my truck and hang on. We go down through the woods to the property line. Then I kick it on down into four-wheel drive and show you what my Chevy can do. Then climb in the back as I brought a blanket. I play my cards right, I just might make it round bases 1 and 2. I got a game I wanna play with you. Let's go rolling in the pasture, somewhere out of sight. I'll be stealing your sweet kisses in the moonlight. I just wanna take you field tripping, out there in the tall grass, underneath the stars. We'll use our hands to find our way back out there in the dark. It's gonna be late when we get in, and everybody wanna know where we've been. You tell them we've been cow tipping, cow tipping. Rendezvous down at the barn if you want a grand tour of my daddy's farm, and I'll show you what a country boy do. I'll take you on a tractor ride, girl, climb up here, I'll let you drive. I know just where I wanna take you. Yeah, I know just what we're gonna do. Let's go rolling in the pasture, somewhere out of sight. I'll be stealing your sweet kisses in the moonlight. I just wanna take you field tripping, out there in the tall grass, underneath the stars. We'll use our hands to find our way back out there in the dark. It's gonna be late when we get in, and everybody wanna know where we've been. You tell them we've been cow tipping, cow tipping. Yeah! You roll me over, you knock me down, move me, baby. Yeah, yeah. Let's go rolling in the pasture, somewhere out of sight. I'll be stealing your sweet kisses in the moonlight. I just wanna take you field tripping, out there in the tall grass, underneath the stars. We'll use our hands to find our way back out there in the dark. It's gonna be late when we get in, and everybody wanna know where we've been. You tell them we've been cow tipping, cow tipping, cow tipping, cow tipping.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Minstrels on the Block. Special guest, Mr. Wally Montgomery. So Wally, tell me a little bit about what you're doing now. What do you have going on?
Kind of what I'm doing now, and what's been my main goal for the past, I guess, really 2 years has kind of led up to this, is that once I got out of playing kind of on the band circuit, I guess you'd call it here in Columbus, and being out playing the local clubs, I kind of wanted to kind of take a break from that, work on myself, work on my songwriting ability, and even my musicianship needed to be improved a little bit. And so over the previous 2 years, I've just been writing as much as I can. I've got a huge list of songs that I've written, and back in February, I went ahead and got everything I needed to set up my own recording studio at my house. And so I got to recording all that stuff, and my goal in doing that was not to be a singer, be the front man. My goal was to just get these demos done for these songs, and I had a few connections I was going to work in Nashville to try to, get these songs out there, get a few pitched, and hopefully get a few cut, which is extremely difficult to do, but that was what I was trying to do.
Right.
But once I put those out on the internet, on Reverb Nation, even before I was completely done with them, I was putting rough cuts out just to kind of test the water, so to speak. A radio station up in Sonoya called me, the bear or the bull, I can't remember which one of those animals. They called me, and for some reason they said they liked my voice and wanted me to come up there and sing, and up to that phone call, I'd never even thought about going out and performing these. I was just doing demos, so I was like, okay. So I went up there and did it, and that led to 3 or 4 other different, radio station interviews and going and playing it and that kind of thing. And I don't know what happened, but, I started putting stuff out on Facebook, and my number of plays kept going up and going up and going up, and the number of likes kept going up. And I went ahead and released the album on iTunes back in May, which was my first album of the first 12 songs I got done at my studio. And so I put that out, and it's sold. I wouldn't say it sold a lot, but it sold more than I thought.
Right.
Just being an independent on my own type deal. But somehow, in promoting this stuff on Facebook, I started getting likes over in Europe, people liking my band page.
Wow.
And kind of once it's kept caught on over there, for some reason, Italians seemed to like my music a lot.
Nice.
And I would get sometimes 1,000, 2,000 likes a week, and I was like, this is just ridiculous, Wow. And then from there, it jumped to the Middle East. Don't ask me why. People in Egypt, Morocco, all those countries over there, started liking it. So within 6 months period, I'm about to hit 30,000 likes on Facebook, and getting, some days I get 1,000 plays on my Reverb Nation page. It's just, I was not expecting that, So that kind of numbers kind of drew attention from some other people. So I've had some guys in publishing in Nashville who are also songwriters and have had hits, and #1 hits at that, which I couldn't believe they were contacting me, but they did. And since they did back in June, I've co-written a few songs with them. Nice. Even recorded some of their songs, and I'm hoping that leads to a few more things in the future. But I guess since I put my other album out in May, my first album, I've been continually, my goal has been to get one fully written, produced song out a week, which is what I try to do unless something comes up or I'm out of town. So every week I put out a new song and try to promote that for that week, and then the next week I got another one, I promote that. So just to kind of keep it fresh. But I do everything myself at the house. I play all their instruments. I do it all on my own. So it's been a fun, creative process. I've learned a lot about the production side. I had to learn how to be a good record producer because, growing up, I always had my 4 tracks, my 8 tracks, and that kind of stuff. And it's just throwing ideas on there and not really trying to make it perfect, just trying to get the ideas. But when you're really trying to do an album quality stuff, you got to really focus and take your time on your takes and getting stuff perfect. And I've since got a little better equipment here and there where I could, and it's not professional quality. I mean, you can go to Nashville and spend a lot of money and get it professional, but I'm getting really good sound quality for what I'm using, and it's done exactly what I wanted to do and then some. So I feel like it's been a fun 6 months since May.
Now, you heard those stats. You got this guy right here in your own area that's attracting attention all over the world. So check him out on Facebook, which we'll get you the Facebook page a little bit later on. What exactly would you say is your style of music?
It's kind of a blend of a couple of things. As I mentioned in the last segment, my main influence as a kid was the 80s hairband stuff. So, those guitar players, all that stuff, you can hear a lot of that riff rock stuff going on in my stuff. It wasn't until, I guess, maybe 07, 08 that I kind of started looking at the country side of stuff, because you had guitar players like Brad Paisley, Keith Urban, Johnny Highland, of course, Brent Mason, those guys, which are all incredible players. And even on some of the songs you hear on the radio, they don't show off you don't see how good of players they are just by listening to the songs you hear on the radio. They're actually really good players, especially, in my opinion, Paisley. When I heard him play some stuff live, I was just like, wow, this guy's great. So I started really getting into the chicken picking stuff. So I moved away from the 2-hand tapping full time and went into some chicken picking part time. So I incorporated that the more of that modern country sound, which honestly is really pop rock anyway. It's kind of moved away from country. There's still traditional country, but what's top 40 country right now really is pop rock, in my opinion. And so that's kind of what my style is, a blend of my guitar riff rock based influences from the 80s and through the 90s with the modern country sound today. And I guess that to me is the main 2 elements.
Cool. Now a couple of questions before we check out another of your songs. Let's just say you're walking around the house on a Sunday afternoon, just got done vacuuming or whatever it is you do on a Sunday afternoon. What are you most likely to be listening to on your iPod, CD player, 8-track, record player, etc.?
Mainly, it usually does go back to guitar players. I just bought the new Steve Vai record. He came out with a new one recently. I always am looking for something cool on guitar to listen to. But I love other stuff too. I'm real diverse in what I like. Radiohead is a big favorite of mine. I love listening to Radiohead any time of day. I can put them on and listen to them. Classical music I listen to a lot. Really just anything. So I mean, even just top 40, I'll just turn on Spotify and let it play through some of the top 40 stuff, just to kind of, you know, keep abreast of what's popular and what people like to hear, kind of thing. Because anytime you're producing or songwriting, you kind of want to stay current on what the sounds are. You don't want to copy it, but you need to know what people like in order to kind of cater to them a little bit. You don't want to go in total left field and do something. Right. You can, but you may not get attention. But yeah, I mean, I listen to just about anything. But guitar-based stuff is where it all usually goes back to.
That's where it started, and that's where it remains. Where would you like to see? It may sound like a silly question, but where would you like to see your music go 5 years, 10 years?
A couple of different things. As a songwriter, I would love to be able to just go around and perform and sing my own songs. Mm-hmm. I would love to be able to get some bigger name artists to cut some of my songs. Mm-hmm. Both of those are kind of very high goals, I know, but that's what I'd like to do.
But reasonable ones.
It's reasonable, and I mean, both of them can be done on a certain level. It's just a matter of what level it ends up being. But yeah, that's my goal, is just to somehow have a career in music.
Very cool. Let's check out one of Wally's songs, and we'll be right back after this.
Here's my song, Girl on Fire. Check it out on ReverbNation.com. You're the sunrise in the morning. You keep burning all day long. And a cool drink of water don't cool you down at all. Just as hot as you could be. Get hurt if I get too close, but you can burn me all you want to, baby, and I'll keep hanging on. You're my girl on fire. You're a woman in love. I'm your gasoline. I keep you all lit up. I just wanna turn you on and keep you burning all night. You're my girl on fire. Keep on burning strong. I just wanna turn you on and keep you burning all night long. You're my girl on fire. Keep on burning strong. You're my girl on fire. Keep on burning strong.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Minstrels on the Block, where we bring you the finest singer-songwriters in the Valley area. Special guest this week, Mr. Wally Montgomery. So, Wally, this is the part of the show where we like to pimp stuff. This is the pimping promotional section of the show. So, tell everybody out there in TV world what you have that you want everybody to know about.
The main thing I'd like to promote would be my Facebook page. Basically, just if you're a Facebook user, go in and search for my name, Wally Montgomery. I think there's only 2 of us on Facebook, so I'm the one that's with the guitar in the picture.
Easy.
And then my band page on there, definitely go to that one and give me a like on there. Take all the likes I can get on Facebook. Also, Reverb Nation, it's linked from Facebook, but go ahead and look for Wally Montgomery on Reverb Nation. That's where all my music is. When you pull up that site, it's going to have 5 songs that you'll see right at the header of the page, but be sure to click on the All Songs link, because right now I've got, I think, 40-something songs up there. So
wow.
You can spend an afternoon just enjoying my music.
Wally Montgomery Jukebox.
No, you probably want to shoot yourself by the time you get to the end of the line, but they're all up there if you care to listen to them. They're there to listen to. My CD's for sale. My first one that came out back in May is on iTunes. You can go to there and preview it and download it and buy it if you want. I think on iTunes it's either $7.99 or $9.99. It's a little bit discounted from what a usual release would be. There's a couple other sites that have it as well. Amazon has it. I can't remember all the other ones. I just remember Amazon and iTunes. That's where I usually send people to. There's also some ringtones out there. I've never even bought them myself or even looked at them, but
nice.
If you Google search Wally Montgomery ringtones, if you want one of these songs blasting on your phone,
that's awesome.
You can get that. But yeah, just the Facebook, the Reverb Nation, and iTunes is the main place to go and check it out.
Very cool. Now, there's a couple of questions I'd like to ask. One is, what do you think of the local music scene? We touched on it earlier, but
I think Columbus has a potential to have a really great music scene. With the rejuvenation of the downtown area over the past 5 to 10 years, I mean, there's, a lot of good venues down there that are starting to get good bands in. With the music school now moving down there, you're bringing in musicians from other parts of the country that are coming here, because Columbus State really does have a great music department. I would love to see the music scene in Columbus get to be where Macon was back in the 70s, or where Athens, has been in the past as well. I think it has a potential to get there. I think it just takes a little time to develop, but there are people in this town that are trying to push it and create avenues where the music can kind of grow and get different artists together. Something like this show as well. Guys down at the Loft, you got Buddy down there who runs the Loft. He does great in getting singer-songwriters and more original bands in down there. And there's other venue owners also that do try to give artists a little more freedom to be more original, not just play the typical cover set. But I think Columbus has a lot of potential. I think there's always room for improvement, but I think it's doing all right for a little town.
Cool. Now, for all the people sitting out there with a guitar in their lap, where you and I were years ago, however long ago, maybe they're a singer-songwriter or want to be a singer-songwriter, or even an artist. It's a music show, so we focus on musicians, but any kind of artist sitting out there. Aspiring artists in the audience, what advice would you give to an aspiring artist?
First thing is be proficient at your instrument, whatever you want your main instrument to be. It takes a lot of time and practice, unless you're just genetically gifted by chance to be great. And even then, it takes a lot of practice. So definitely put in the hours of practice. I've read books about achievement and whatnot, where it says you need to practice at least 10,000 hours of anything to be good at it. So put in a lot of time. That will pay off. Other than that, keep your eyes and ears open. Always be aware of what's around you. Take in as much as you can, because if you want to be a writer, you really have to be an observer. You have to sit back and watch and listen and hopefully learn in order to write, because if you just write what's in your head, you'll get sick of that, and so will everybody else pretty quick. So you have to observe things a lot wherever you go. And that to me has been, I think, what has helped me as a writer, is just observing and taking in what I can. But yeah, I think practice and persistence is the main thing that any artist or any person who wants a career in music has to have, and that's what I've had so far. And I get a little closer every year, it seems. But I'm still waiting for that one big break, which I hope it's coming up soon. Fingers crossed, but still keep chugging along, still keep practicing.
Very cool. Very cool. Good words. Wally, I really appreciate you being on the show. Great.
Thanks for having me.
This has been Minstrels on the Block with Wally Montgomery. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm your host, Brian Mallard. See you next time on CTV EA.
This is my song, Talk to Me. You can check it out on my Facebook page or at ReverbNation.com. Another rainy night in Georgia, and there's a storm in the living room. There's more words we can never take back, and we've been using them to cut each other in two. So let's lay these weapons down and come together and find some common ground. And let's talk about our feelings before you feel like leaving. Talking is the only way to work it out. It ain't gonna be easy when you say you don't need me, but maybe I can talk you into sticking around. We gotta talk about more than the weather if we're gonna get better, baby. You gotta talk to me. You gotta talk to me. We've been spinning our wheels on this not so merry-go-round. So baby, pull the plug and pump the brakes and let's slow this hurricane down. The weatherman said that the sun's gonna shine. The storm is over that's been raging in your mind. So let's talk about our feelings before you feel like leaving. Talking is the only way to work it out. It ain't gonna be easy when you say you don't need me, but maybe I can talk you into sticking around. We gotta talk about more than the weather if we're gonna get better, baby. You gotta talk to me, just talk to me. Just tell me, open up and empty all your feelings. Don't be scared when revealing, just talk to me. We gotta talk about our feelings before you feel like leaving. Talking is the only way to work it out. It ain't gonna be easy when you say you don't need me, but maybe I can talk you into sticking around. We gotta talk about more than the weather if we're gonna get better, baby. You gotta talk to me. You gotta talk to me. Just talk.